Hi, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and welcome to a very special episode of It's Sybil. Oh, who am I kidding? They're all special, aren't they? Yes, yes, they are. We're going to have some fun today, and we are implementing a new a segment once a month. And if you saw the newsletter, then you understand where we're going with this. But you may have seen her segment with us over the holidays. She is Ms. Astrology, and we had such a good time, especially with our youngins and what have you. We wanted to continue the fun. And so we're going to do this on a regular basis, have Ms. Astrology come on. And we have some folks whose chart she's going to read. And we invite you over the coming months. We're going to have opportunities for other people to come on and have their charts read, you viewers and listeners. Those I'm talking about. So, Miss Astrology, it's great to see you again. How are you?
Thanks for having me. Happy Aquarius season.
and we will talk about the Age of Aquarius as we get into this. And I also want to introduce our very special executive producer, and she is my best friend, my partner for life in all of life's adventures. And she is going to have her chart read today, and that is Yolanda Starks White. Hey, yo.
Hi, Sybil. Hi, Miss Astrology.
Hi, Yolanda. Happy birthday.
I'm excited. Thank you. It's been a great day.
She is the birthday girl, and everybody knows it. She doesn't do it. She doesn't do it like a lot of people do on Instagram. You know, like they ramp up to the day. But she really does grab a hold of her birthday and enjoy it for all
I'm
of it.
okay with that.
Yeah, like exactly. And we're also going to have a chart read of one of our family members of the What You Need to Know family, and he is a little bit younger than Yolanda, but we thought that it would be good to have. Yeah, I didn't say much. We thought it would be good to have kind of, if you will, a balance and have a male as well as a young person and slightly older person and female. So here we go. Ms. Astrology, we had an opportunity to talk with you with three of our youngins back in December, and we had so much fun. And just give people, if you could, just an overview of what you do and what we can expect over this next however many minutes of this radio show.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here talking about my very favorite subject, the science of astrology. So I've just spent years studying the energies of the planets and how they behave as they move through the zodiac, through their ecliptic cycle, and how that affects all of us, our personalities, the events that we go through in life. And I've just been documenting what I see and giving people insight and really helping people make decisions or understand relationships or even themselves better. So that is what I do, a professional astrologer.
You are a professional astrologer, and you've been at this for how long?
6 years now.
Okay. Yes. And for people who want to, and because we will mention it a couple of times, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, I'm Miss Astrology on social media, MS Astrology. My website, cosmicallylit.com. That's where I let you know everything that I have going on. And I say lit because I'm learning, I'm implementing, and then I'm teaching others everything I learn about the stars. So
that is so cool. And we really need to come to you with a certain amount of information when we want to have our charts read. Not only just say my birthday is August 20th, and so there is something that goes, a lot of work that goes into your reading of the charts, and so we want people to take it seriously because your time is valuable and your information is valuable as well.
Right, and it's really valuable to you. It really just helps you understand yourself better, and also other people. That was another reason that I really took up astrology. I was like, a lot of people started getting a pass when I realized that that's just your sign. That's just how y'all behave. So.
Yeah, you can say about that about us people born on the cusp. I'm kidding. We will talk about that, I promise.
Okay.
But let's move to as we like to talk about things that are going on, and if
Mhm.
you could kind of give us a look at the way you see maybe the next month or so. I don't know how far out you can go with these things, but we are still in the midst of a pandemic.
Mhm.
The worst of COVID is not over,
Mm-mm.
especially as far as this particular variant is concerned. We're
Mhm.
we're talking about Omicron, and we're not done, are we?
No, we're not done. And Saturn is the planet that gives us restrictions and boundaries. And it is in the sign of Aquarius. The sun is in Aquarius now. And the sun is considered weak when it's in Aquarius. It's not its favorite placement. So those of us, our suns, our passion, our energy will be boundaries. There's going to be limits. There's going to be no's. We are going to sit down. Aquarius rules groups. And so I think there's going to be more children at home. There's going to be more restrictions, more limits. It is going to ease up this year, but that's not going to be until probably closer to Gemini season.
Gemini season, so that would be the summer.
That's more towards the summer, yes, as we
Okay.
prepare for the summer. Mhm.
Okay.
So I do think it's going to be stricter. Also, I was watching your show from yesterday, and you guys were talking about Kamala. And it has been my prediction since the beginning of this election that she will take office at some point. And I actually think it's going to be during this administration.
Ooh.
And so I'm just going to go big time and put that out there. Her astrology supports it, and the astrology overall supports women rising, specifically Black women, women of color, just being really elevated into that position. So I predicted that was the reason Biden even won, because she's vice president, because he brought
Yeah.
her.
And you see her ascending
Absolutely. I
to
do.
the number one position.
Yes, and her astrology shows it as well. So I definitely think so. And fun fact about her, she was born on an exact full moon. So she's a
Really?
Libra. And Libra is that sign that's really about balance and fairness. And I think we just got to give her a chance, quite honestly. I do think that she's going to do well there. And I do think that she's going to be commander in chief.
When is her birthday?
Oh God, I had it pulled up earlier. I can pull it up really quickly, but
I think we can do that. Yeah.
Look, it's already in my, I'm telling you, I was looking at her. October 20th, 1964. Mhm.
And
Okay.
so, and she was born on a full moon.
On an exact full moon. So the
Exact
sun
moon.
was 27 degrees Libra and the moon was 27 degrees Libra. So that is Aries, I'm sorry. So exact full moon. So people born on exacts like that really come to bring change and really come to shake things up.
Wow.
So I'm excited to see it.
So I'm excited too. I can pull out my Kamala shirts again. Because people,
Yes.
like I care that people give me the side eye when I wear my Kamala Harris t-shirts out.
Right.
But I
Right.
think that's very exciting. And
Mhm.
so, but and I don't know if you can do readings for dogs, but that's Ramsey. So that's my god dog. But I'm curious, what does that mean for Joe Biden?
Well, let's just say this: the only president that has not really had a death from illness or something like that has taken office when Saturn and Jupiter conjunct, which did happen in 2020 when Biden took office, was Ronald Reagan, and he kept a full-time astrologer on staff.
He sure did.
He absolutely did. Nancy
But
Reagan
Reagan
was
yeah.
huge into
Yeah.
astrology and superstition and all of that kind of stuff. Additionally, Joe Biden is a Scorpio, also born on a full moon. And so Scorpio they're in a hard time, I think, this year coming up. The next 18 months is going to be difficult for them. So I don't like to, go too much with it, but I don't think he's in the best health. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. That makes me sad, but that's really well,
Yeah.
you don't wish
Right.
anything on anybody
Right.
like
No.
that. So let's talk about something a little bit lighter, because I mean that's great news for Kamala, but for the Bidens maybe
Right.
not so much. Let's talk about because I'm a big sports fan. I'm not watching football the way I used to, but we got the Super Bowl coming up and things and a lot going on, especially in basketball with players who are not playing because of the COVID and and in and off the teams. Do you see anything going on in particular?
Well, I think there is going to be a sense of healing overall, if you will, as far as athletes go. Chiron is in Aries. Aries is the professional athlete. And it's also military and police. And so I think that's why we're seeing so much with, now police officers finally getting convicted and getting, these maximum sentences. And also, I think there's going to be reform as far as professional sports and athletes go. So I wouldn't be surprised to see changes, safety changes, I think, are going to come up for football. Aries rules the head, and there's a lot of head injuries in football. And so I think this is going to, Chiron is there. We got about 5-6 more years of this. We're going to see a lot of change in that. A lot of rules when it comes to hitting and those kind of things, and health-wise overall. So I wouldn't be surprised if they continue with the mandates and that kind of thing for the vaccinations. Of course, people are going to rebel because this is Aquarius season and the Age of Aquarius. So, but I think it's going to get safer, if you will.
That's cool.
So I have a quick question. What about the voting rights?
That's what I was going to ask about the politics thing.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, let's go there.
Yeah.
In terms of politics, because we are just past the president's first year, and the same day that he held his first press conference in a long time was also the same day that the Senate, the Democratic Senate, failed to pass anything regarding voting rights. They have failed as far as police reform and things that are very important to our people. Do you see anything regarding that, and especially as we are in a very important year as far as the midterm elections are concerned?
That is Saturn, and Saturn is going to put a restriction on a lot of our voices. Again, this could loosen up or get a little bit easier once we get into Gemini season, but Saturn rules Aquarius. This is really what we can expect. This is not going to be an easy transit for us as a collective, because again, Aquarius is the group of is the sign of groups of people. And Saturn is there like, no, y'all not doing that. No, it's an air sign. It likes to talk. It likes to think, share information. Their keyword is I know. And so there's going to be more restrictions. There's going to be more restrictions on the internet, the amount of information we can get from social media platforms and that kind of thing. So I do think that anything that we're vocalizing our voice as a collective, there's going to be some restrictions for the next couple of years.
So that brings me to, and we'll get back to the whole political thing, but that brings me to technology, because now right now we're in the midst of 5G, and whether they are going to be able to extend it the way they want to with the airports and things like that. Do you see anything regarding that, or any kind of?
Yeah, it's still the same thing of seeing it just still being limited and still having those stops and still having those not yet. Specifically right now with Mercury retrograde as well, we don't have all the information about this. We don't know enough yet. Like, and we got to re-examine some things and re-look, is this good for the collective, for the overall? And Saturn is still going to test us and force us. One of the most important things any of us can do is like what you're doing now, is just bring people to your own platforms. Like, bring people. We can't be really depending on these social media. I mean, we can use them, but now we got to get people like, come over here to my area. So we're not facing so many restrictions and those kind of things. And so we can come up with our own plan. Because again, it's Aquarius, so we can rebel. We can overcome this, but we're going to have to get structured. We're going to have to, set up our own systems, create our own traditions, pathways, if you will. Like, it's kind of like, I get the vision of like under our own underground tunnels.
A railroad.
Yes, underground railroads. There we go. Like our own ways of getting the communication and making this change. It's because everybody above us is going to be like, no. All those, it's a bunch of no's.
So do you see, like, and getting back to what Yolanda was talking about as far as voting rights and things are concerned, do you see the collectives coming together in terms of it won't be through the regular political channels like the Senate, but do you see us coming together and perhaps making some strides?
Absolutely, yes. But for those of us that are very aware of it and that are very on purpose about it and want to, a lot of people are still got just right here with what's going on with them. And so they're going to be the ones that are limited by the time they look up. But there are going to be pockets and groups of people that have faith in what we can do as groups of people and make strides that way and get our voices heard that way. And it'll be a couple years before we really see those major changes coming in, but it'll happen.
Okay, let me ask you this. Have you done a chart for Joe Manchin or Kirsten Sinema?
Right.
I have not. That's a good one, though. I will.
Will you kind of check into that the
Sure.
next time we meet?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
And so we talked about politics a little bit. We talked about the sports area. As far as, and you said we're going to be inside and we're still going to be held by COVID for a little bit longer. Do you
Yes.
see another variant coming about?
Not necessarily, no. And like I said, I do think that once we get to Gemini season, it's going to lighten up. Like things are going to feel better, but we're going to be restricted. And maybe that's what stops everything from really spreading, because this does feel like authority. The restriction, of course, is not necessarily just going to be because we're sitting in the house, but we're being told to go be in the house. Then we have to be in the house. And that may be the answer to this. But I don't think that there's going to be another variant, no.
Do you see imprisonment for Donald Trump?
Actually, he's a Gemini. I think he's gonna like skate through on the skin of his teeth. I think he's gonna be fine. Yeah,
Wow.
Geminis did.
Yeah, that's the way them Geminis are, huh?
They little tricky little somethings. Yeah. Especially when they're older and smart like he is. And then he's got a Sagittarius moon as well. Again, born on a full moon. Those three are born on full moons. Yeah. And so with him being a Sagittarius, he's very wise. Like is he wise? I think he is. You got he's smart. Like I think, like he does, and as a Sagittarius, he doesn't really care. Like it's gonna be his. I'm a Sag, y'all, so I'm not bad mouthing Sagittarians. I'm one as well. He doesn't really care, and he really doesn't care what he says. And there's gonna be enough people that actually like him because people tend to like Sagittarians that just like, you know what, whatever. So I think he's actually going to skate on by.
Sybil, I have one more question. This actually comes from Rosemary Smith.
Great question.
A lot of people asking about Bitcoin. Can you tell us more about that?
Buy it. Alternative cryptos. And I'm saying this because Uranus is the planet of innovative. It actually rules Aquarius, innovation, freedom, technology, very forward thinking planet. And it is in the sign of Taurus, which rules money, the money you make from the work that you do. This is an opportunity to put our money to work for us. So buy cryptos, buy land. I know this seems really crazy with this whole metaverse thing, but Taurus rules land. And when we think about Uranus being like innovative land, well, that's metaverse land. Makes sense when you think about it that way. And so also Uranus is squaring with Aquarius and Saturn here. So there are going to be some of us in the collective that are just going to jump on it and do very, very well. Like, just get it. You don't have to understand it. This way.
Wait. First you said, what is Uranus?
It's a planet. Uranus is the planet that is.
I'm sorry, Miss Astrology, Uranus.
It's Uranus or Uranus. I'm a professional.
Uranus.
I'm a professional.
I know, but for those of us that are thinking like 12-year-olds, it's Uranus.
It's Uranus.
So it's mother's voice every morning, jumps Sybil up, never pleasant. That's how I know the planets, and it was always Uranus.
Well, if your astrologer's calling him Uranus, you guys, I don't know about that.
No, you are our astrologer, so we'll go with Uranus.
Uranus. So how you say it like that. But yes, that planet is it's such a unique planet that it literally rotates in 8 degrees from horizontal. Like it's the rest of them are moving this way. Uranus, which is the planet of chaos and change, it moves this way.
Oh, wow.
So, yes, it's at 8 degrees from horizontal. So I say that to say this is all about change, you guys. This is forward thinking, the future. If we think about when we were kids telling our parents that they were gonna, do everything on the phone and swipe a card for everything, they would have been like, what? But now my kids don't know what a checkbook is.
Right.
So it's like, don't try to understand it. Throw some money at cryptos. Maybe if you got to do a little Google search, find you some people. There's some groups out there, Aquarius's groups. Get some information, get some crypto, get some land, and get prepared to eat alternative food. More food is going to come from factories, not factories, labs. Kind of technology food.
The genetically modified.
More of it is coming.
Wow.
Yep. So.
Okay, so we're quickly running out of time. Okay, Lisa Smith
Yep.
on it says Sister Girl said it was going to be a food shortage the last time. Yep, you were on the show, and especially meat, and you were right
Especially
on
meat.
it because
Especially meat.
we're going into the stores and the shelves are barren.
Yep. And the meat is expensive.
Very.
It's very expensive. So yes, you guys, that's going to continue. And then more of it's going to come from the lab. So either you're going to adjust your diet that you don't eat meat very much, or you get okay with eating meat from a lab.
Wow.
All right. So we will continue this conversation about this, but now it's time to find out what's really going on. And this is the opportunity for our guests to have their charts read. And these are two people celebrating their birthdays. And it's great. As I said, Yolanda is our birthday girl, and she's going to have her chart read, and also sharing the same birthday a couple of years after Yolanda. Let's bring in Jawanza celebrating his 16th birthday.
Yay!
Happy
Jawanza!
birthday. Happy solar return, as we astrologers like to say.
Oh, nice. Jawanza, happy birthday. Thank you for doing
you.
this and joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So, Jawanza, let's get your whatever information. I think Miss
I have
Astrology
everything.
has everything. Okay.
Yeah. One thing I want to point out, this is why you have to know more than your sun sign. They have the exact same birthday, of course, different years, but they literally only have one planet in common, and that's the sun. So Jawanza said, I'm a Capricorn. That's what he said. Well, the sun was actually at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So technically you're Aquarius. However, I can see why you would say you're a Capricorn, because Mercury and Venus are in the sign of Capricorn when you were born. So that's why you identify as a Capricorn. You're like, I'm a Capricorn. It's like, yeah, you know, the sun was in Aquarius officially. However, you think like a Capricorn. You speak like a Capricorn, because that's what Mercury influences. And right now, with Pluto in Capricorn, this is really a time for you going into this year, and Venus is currently retrograding there, to really find value in the things that you share, the things that you say. It's more like speaking up, like bossing up in that sense, because Capricorn is very much about its image, its reputation, what it's able to achieve and accomplish. I feel like you've done some things, like you're a smart kid, you've done some good things, like you need to talk about those things more, kind of brag on yourself a little bit more. This is going to get you recognized, get you in the door with people that can give you access to whatever it is that you want to do. With Venus here, it feels like, to me, it's like you probably just want to like own a business. Like, I don't necessarily want to go to work. I just want to be somebody's boss type energy. But this would be a really good opportunity if you speak up about your accomplishments and maybe talk a little bit more. This would be a good opportunity to get you recognized, to where maybe an internship, to where you can be around some bosses, some big players, because this is a chart that's set up for that. You have a Libra moon. I love the Libra moon because it's going to attract money and people. So like Libra is all about the opulence, the luxury, connecting people together. And then with you being an Aquarius as well, you're meant to work within groups. So this year I would just really work more about exercising my voice and just talking more. And if you don't necessarily like small talk and stuff, just some fun factor. You know, I had an astrologer look at my chart today, and or maybe studying astrology a little bit more. Aquarians tend to actually like it.
So that's really interesting, because I understand, Jawanza, you do have a growing interest in astrology. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and remember, Yolanda said she stayed on the entire show last time. She's an Aquarius as well. Even though she's never like studied it or really learned anything about it, she just instantly had this interest. Aquarius rules astrology. So Aquarians tend to be interested in astrology, and they tend to get it really quickly. Like it just clicks. So I think, Jawanza, you'll read a couple articles, you'll get your keywords about the planets and the signs, and then before you know it, the sky will just really start speaking to you and you'll really get it. And so maybe that's something that you use to kind of talk about, to pique people's interest, for them to have a conversation with you. Before you know it, that's a way for you to have access to whatever it is that you're trying to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a good year for you. You also have Mars in Taurus. You're a hard worker, kid. Like, you're going to do good things. You're going to make things happen. So now one thing I will say about Mars and Taurus, it can work hard, but still kind of be lazy. So you'll do your schoolwork, you'll get to the money, but you ain't trying to exercise. You ain't trying to clean up that room, those kind of things. So that's a little bit of something you're going to have to put little steady practices in, because once you get like a routine of it, Mars and Taurus won't break a routine.
I
So
don't know
once you
if
get
his
a-
Leo mama is gonna let that happen with no exercise. And
Oh, that's good, because baby, if he could, he would just work or study or learn some things or that kind of thing, and just be like, I don't
So-
need to exercise.
so, Yolanda, do you have any questions for Ms. Astrology?
Uh,
Because if you don't, I mean, I just wonder maybe if you just had something that's been in your head for a while. No?
well, no, not really. No.
Well,
Okay.
let me recommend a book to you, since you're a budding astrologer. The Changing Sky by Stephen Forrest. Any of Stephen Forrest's books are really good. He writes very well, and they're really good, easy to understand the energies of the planets and the signs. So that's a really good book to start with. Any of Stephen Forrest's books.
Stephen Forrest,
Mhm.
The Changing
Sky.
Sky. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. All right. So, Duwanta, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Unless, Mr. Astrology, do you have anything else that you wanted to add about
No,
Duwanta?
unless
Okay.
you have any questions. I do think that it's really like when you're young, when you're 16, like some of it will click, but a lot of it is not going to make real sense to you until you start to go through your Saturn return, which is later, a little bit later on in your 20s. So you may feel like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know. And then once you get, further along, but talk about what you know, you'll see some recognition accomplishments this year.
Awesome.
Good for you.
I'm excited for you,
Mhm.
Duwanta.
Thank
It's
you.
going to be good.
Thank you.
Well, cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And I think that, and you know what? I really thank you for coming on and joining us because
Right.
I think it's really special. You and Yolanda already have a connection because of your birthdays, but a lot of people here are wishing you a very happy birthday. And we join them and wish you just a wonderful journey around the sun this year.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, sweetie.
Thank you,
Oh,
Duwanda.
how
Good
cute
to
is
see you,
he?
baby. He's
How
so
cute.
cute.
Sweet.
Oh, he's so cute. Sybil, that looked like a man.
I know.
When did
I-
that happen?
I
Growing
know.
up.
Off
That-
the
that's what his
read,
mama says
girlfriend.
too.
He is gorgeous. Woo!
How
All
cute
right,
is
Sheree.
he? Okay. So my friend Shawnee Mack is watching us. He's saying, "Give me his birthday." Shawnee doesn't work that way. But we will make sure that we get you on as well. Maybe you and Myra J, who share the same birthday.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Okay, so let us move to the birthday girl
Yes.
and all that this entails for her life.
Well, this is so funny because her chart is very different. So they, again, born on the same day. This is why you got to know your year and where you were born. So Yolanda has an Aquarius sun, also has Venus in Aquarius and Mars in Aquarius. So works very well with groups of people. And but with having the moon and Mercury in Capricorn, Yolanda's got to be the boss and in charge and the one to make it happen. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Jupiter and Gemini as well. I feel like anything that you're really trying to do that has to do with speaking or writing or journaling or communication in that kind of way, this last 18 months was really good for that. And that you should keep on pursuing any of those things. So are you doing any kind of like writing a book?
Oh my God.
I'm right.
She got a lot of words, Miss Astrology.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. I can see that too. But those words, there's money in those words. There's some things that you can get from that, some recognition that you can get from that. Also, Pluto's in Capricorn as well. So some of these emotions, I feel like that you maybe just have learned how to package up and put to the side. There's some lessons that have actually come from that you may need to express a little bit more. Like, this is a chart of someone who's like emotions. Like, no, I'm good. And it's like, would you agree with that?
Okay, that's good. That's
Yes.
good. I like it.
Right on.
Shut up, Sybil.
Let me just say, I've heard a time or two, effing emotion. I'm just saying.
it. I love it. I love it. But I mean, this is also a great communicator and somebody who should get their words out in whatever format you want. You have Jupiter in Gemini. So they have the saying, a jack of all trades, but a master of none. But you know, the rest of that goes, a jack of all trades, a master of none is still better than a master of one.
Woo!
So the fact
wow.
right, most people don't know that.
Okay.
But it's really better that you do a little this and you do a little bit of that. Like, wouldn't we rather have 10 streams of steady income rather than one big hose of income that can easily get cut off? So write the book, do the blog, do the podcast. When you're over it, you're over it. You made your money, you move on to the next thing. Don't try to box yourself in, which seems like it could be a little bit of a battle, because this Capricorn moon is like, no, I got to keep going this way. I got to keep. But you got Jupiter and Gemini, baby. You could do a little bit all of it and make money from all kind of ways. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me ask you this. What about, because this I find with Yolanda is continuing to grow over the years, and that's her spiritual journey. And I don't think she's ever like started. I think she's always been on one. But a lot of it has to do with her practicing of yoga and meditation and things like this. I see that one as one of her great gifts.
And that's going to just grow this year. This is going to be, it's going to end up being, because you have Saturn and Chiron are both in Pisces. Pisces is a very spiritual sign. Saturn has been the one that's restricting that for you, like through this, like maybe you try to get into it, but then you're just like, this don't make no sense. Like, oh, these people crying. I ain't got time for this. Like, whoa. However, Jupiter is making its way to just soften that up a little bit for you, just to make it a little bit nicer. And it's going to be more of a discipline and very healing. So any issues that you may have with the church or spirituality or religion or any of that, this year as Jupiter transit makes that transit, this will be very healing, and you'll grow a lot more in that. You'll find yourself being a lot more forgiving of those kind of things and being very disciplined in your own spiritual practice. So, and you may be crying on the mat now instead of while you was making fun.
Doubt it. But keep going.
Ding, 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 ding. and that's the other thing. That's the other thing, Ms. Astrology. I don't want to take you off of it, but of your point. But this is what also people are joining in, because her friends and family know Yolanda is a producer at heart.
Absolutely.
You know, she really is one that puts it on, puts on the production at every day to, major production. So
right.
So, but even with that, I have a quick question for you. So one of the things that I am learning just by getting older is, life is what it is, and it comes as it comes. And this astrology thing, I'm just, a lot of people are telling me, a lot of people are interested in it. And so it is my job professionally to go where people interest is, whether it's mine or not. And so with this, my question is, I really don't care what the future holds, because I'm going to take each day as it comes. So why is it important for me to know what the future is going to hold? Because the future is going to be what the future is going to be.
Well, that's not necessarily true. Because long term and on a bigger scale, yes, for the outer, slower moving planets. But when you're dealing with the moon and Mercury, these planets move so fast that they can go either or. So we can either be like, okay, it's a full moon. I know I'm going to have emotions. Let me cry today. Let me take an off day. Let me, be mindful of that. Or you don't know it's a full moon and you're just going off on people. You're letting your emotions overtake you. You don't realize Mercury's retrograde, so you don't allow yourself extra time. You don't double check that your emails went out. You don't, get the car maintenance like it's been suggested to do. Now you find yourself in more of an issue. So they're warnings in a sense.
Okay.
They do give you guidance. So even if you don't care about the long-term future, it's always good to know, like, it's kind of like how when you say, who's over there when you're going to go to somebody's house, like, who all over there? So you know how the vibe is going to be. It's like, who all out today? Where's everybody? Where all the planets at? How's the vibe going to be? So it's kind of that.
So we could use this as a way to change the future. We are in charge of changing or altering what is going to happen in the future?
Absolutely. We have free will. And if we work with the planet, so for instance, if you say, well, I don't care about what happens in the future, I'm not going to write a book, I'm not going to start a podcast. Okay. The planets aren't going to make you do anything. I mean, the way your chart is set up, you're going to still talk, you're going to still communicate. But if you decide not to, what I'm suggesting, girl, you better put it in a book, you better put it in a podcast, then you just won't make no money off of it. But you're still naturally a speaker and naturally a talker, but now you're not flowing with the energy to really capitalize off of it.
So that's not what I meant. What I meant is what's going to happen in the future is what's going to happen.
So are you talking like health wise or something like that?
Well, I'm in a constant flow of evolving. I'm constantly growing, taking classes. You're right. Learning, just, whatever comes, I prepare myself mentally to deal with whatever comes. Why is it necessary for me to be prepared for whatever comes?
Because
I didn't mean that.
Preparation makes us just more successful at things. And see, this is to me, what I'm hearing is very much like your Aquarius energy. Like, let's go back and forth. Let's rebel against that. Yeah. Let me challenge that a little bit. So this is very Aquarius.
Well, I do have a rebellious nature.
All Aquarians do. I give you a pass, sis. I
get it. We want to continue this conversation.
Hold on. Somebody said something. I get it.
Like the weather, it's going to do what it's going to do. But it's nice to know a storm is coming.
And that's Rosemary Smith on YouTube.
Yes, that's a great analogy. Rosemary, I'm going to start using that.
Yep.
Thank you. I get that. Okay.
Yep. Absolutely. And when I tell her the weather is going to change, she doesn't believe me that the rain is coming in 17 minutes and to put your car inside. And she doesn't believe that. So I do want to continue this conversation, but we really do need to move on to our next segment. And that is what you need to know, our What You Need to Know segment. And Yolanda, if there are any more questions you have for Miss Astrology, you can also reach her. And what's your website, Ms. Astrology?
Cosmicallylit.com.
There we go.
Thank you.
And people who are who may have just joined us, do want you to know that we are going to give people an opportunity to have their charts read as we go through the signs of the year and what have you. But you can't just say, if somebody says I'm a Virgo, or what about Virgos? Right. That's not going to work, right?
No, not for particulars, but like for instance, with this being Aquarius season, I know that Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio are going to probably have the hardest time this time of year.
Oh, great.
And this is...
Wait, what are they again? Aquarius?
It's Aquarius and Leo, because that's their opposite of each other.
Yeah.
And then Taurus and Scorpio. And that's because astrology does include geometry. And so they square each other. They make a tense energy. And then again, the sun is weak in the sign of Aquarius. Mm-hmm. I'd much rather be in Leo. Leo's very proud. So that's the sun. So right now, these 4 signs are likely to deal with kind of feeling down, maybe feeling a little depressed, maybe feeling a little like bah humbug type.
I thought it was seasonal affective disorder.
It's the sun in Aquarius.
Yeah.
The sun doesn't like to be in Aquarius.
Yeah.
And so this is a really important time to really be inward. It's a fixed sign. So making sure that you're just kind of doing whatever you can for yourself, taking care of, you really.
I don't do that. I don't do that.
You don't?
I don't.
See, that's what this is about. Oh, gosh.
So Sybil is my exact opposite. I'm January the 20th. She's August the 20th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So she's on that cusp, as we like to call it.
Yeah. And I really am. I like to do for others as opposed to, taking care of myself that way. So
yeah, that feels very Virgo energy, because baby, a Leo gonna take care of himself.
I know.
Okay? They're gonna be like,
so that's why, we'll talk.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk. I look forward to it. But I do think those 4 signs are going to struggle the most during Aquarius season. I think they really got to take care of themselves. And Sybil, maybe you have Mercury in Leo. And so this is really about self-talk and talking to yourself nice and allowing yourself to listen to comedians right now, funny things, like things that just bring you some joy.
Been there, done that. The comedian thing is so passe. No, you're absolutely right. I do like to laugh. I need that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this cusp thing,
Okay.
CUSP. If people will look at our newsletter, and Ms. Astrology contributed an article to that and talked about what does it mean? Does it really exist? And how do we get to that word?
Right. Well, it exists, but not in the way that it's often used. So
Okay.
the cusp is really just the placement or the line, if you will, where the sun moves from Capricorn. Now it's crossed the cusp or the line, and it is now in Aquarius.
Mhm.
So technically speaking, the sun can only be in one sign at a time. So you can't actually be on a cusp. You've kind of crossed the cusp. And so you're on to the next sign. So both Jawanza and Yolanda are 0 degrees Aquarius. So the sun was in Aquarius, like it was there, like it's in the only other place it could have been, it was Capricorn. So you're one or the other. However, they have planets in Capricorn.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why, so like for Jawanza, he has Mercury and Venus in Capricorn. So that's why he was like, I'm a Capricorn. And it's like, oh, because you think like one, and you value a lot of the same things that a Capricorn does, but the sun was technically, your sun sign is Aquarius. You're not on a cusp, you're an Aquarius that has Capricorn placements.
Mm-hmm.
So the same thing with Yolanda. Her Mercury is in Capricorn as well, but she has Mars and Venus. So she's from the beginning like, I'm an Aquarius, I feel like an Aquarius, but I'm on the cusp. Well, she identifies as an Aquarius because she has 2 other planets there as well, Venus being the planet of value is there. So that's why there's that difference. But same thing, technically, she's also an Aquarius that has Capricorn placements.
Interesting.
It's so interesting.
So what does it mean? What does the Age of Aquarius mean? I mean, it was a song.
Right. It was a song, and it's really like advanced astrology to when it like goes back to the history of astrology when they first started measuring the constellations and the sun moving. And are we in the Age of Aquarius? I think that we are, just because we have seen so many advancements in technology and they're just continuing to come. And Aquarius rules technology. And we're seeing more developments of group think and rebellion. I don't know that we've ever been such a rebellious society like we are now.
But angry too.
And yeah. Well, and you know, that's the thing about Aquarius is it's a sign that really kind of thrives off of chaos and like, however, they want things perfect and like orderly, but they're willing to cause disruption in order to get to that perfect place. It's so weird, but they can be. But they're geniuses, Yolanda. We love y'all.
They are smarter
very,
than the
very
average
smart.
bear. You're absolutely right.
I think that Aquarius is one of the 3 wise men. Virgo, Aquarius, and Sagittarius, in my opinion, were the 3 wise men.
Wow. And you say that as a Scorpio?
I'm a Sagittarius.
Sagittarius. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then of course. Okay. Right.
But Sag is the teacher of the zodiac.
Sagittarius is the teacher, and some of my favorite teachers have been Sagittarians. That's really funny. So can we get back to the cusp thing? Because
sure.
For people who don't understand it, and we just say, and I have, because I didn't know, you know, I'm born on August 20th. I was born on August 20th. And so I was like, Leo and Virgo, is that fair?
No. That you have like the sun, I'm pretty sure was going to be in Virgo. I want to pull it up and just look at your chart. Like, were you born the same year as?
No.
Okay, see, we would need to know year, so you'll have to email me and pull that up. But the sun was in one or the other sign. However, Mercury, which is the planet that travels closest to the sun, and it's our thoughts, it's our communication, it's how we process information. It can be in Virgo or Leo in the other sign. So while your pride and joy is expressed like a Leo, the way you think and process information could very well be like a Virgo. And so that's why you're able to say, well, I identify with both parts, but technically the sun was in just one sign. So you are this sign with these placements, with these other placements.
Gotcha.
So is the cusp normally on the 20th? Can it be on the 23rd?
19th?
It's anywhere between the 19th and the 21st.
So the 19th and the 21st.
That's
the
really
19th,
interesting.
20th, and 21st.
Because my dad was born on February 19th. I was born on August 20th, and my mother was May 21st.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I'll tell you another thing. I always see some kind of synchronicity in family charts all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys will probably each have the sun in one sign and Mercury in a different sign.
Wow.
So
Yeah. I wonder if that was true for my mother's 3 other husbands too.
That's a whole nother show, Sybil.
Right.
Okay, so we're talking about the Age of Aquarius. We're talking about being on the cusp. Is there anything you want to leave us with? Anything that we have not touched upon you in terms of because we're going to end this on a lighter note, talk about entertainment and things like that.
Yeah.
But is there something that we have not touched upon that you wanted to make sure that we did talk about today?
I just want everybody to stay mindful of how Aquarius season is likely going to feel. Like we're going to feel a little down. The sun is approaching Saturn. So this
She
is not
says
going to
with
be
derision in her voice.
right. It's Saturn. Nobody really likes Saturn, but this is a time to get disciplined in your self-care, to really take care of yourself, take care of your mind, hang out with people that make you feel good. Don't hang out.
Wow. Okay.
Mercury's retrograde.
So what does that mean? Because Coy sent that to us the other day. What does Mercury retrograde mean?
So a retrograde is when a planet, so the best example to give is like when you are at a red light. Hi, Sybil.
It's
Mercury retrograde.
It is.
We're discussing retrograde now so that people can understand. So it's when the planets get to a certain point in the sky where from our vantage point, it appears that it's going backwards. It's the same thing as if you're sitting at the red light, a car next to you sitting at the red light, and they start to roll forward a little bit, and you feel like you're going backwards, right? But you're not even moving. It's that exact same thing. Or when you're in the car wash and you feel like you're moving, but you're not. It's the car wash moving. So it's that same concept, that same feeling. And when a planet is retrograde, it's just off. That what its energy rules is just confused and backwards. So Mercury is information, communication, daily travel. Those things get disrupted every 88 days that Mercury retrogrades. So I always say when Mercury is retrograde, it's a time for us to sit down somewhere and think about what we've been thinking about. What have we been listening to? What have we been talking about? Where have we been going? It's time to examine those things and see, do you want to continue to do that moving forward?
And so the Mercury in retrograde, it is more of an energy, or does it have mostly to do with electronics?
Well, it's an energy that does affect electronics because electronics are energy, but it affects more of cars and daily travel. It's not just electronics. It's more of things that you use on a daily basis. Your computer, your car, the person that you communicate with. Yeah, this computer, Sybil's on this computer every day. Right. Like it just all of a sudden is like, bye.
Mm-hmm.
And is there anything you can do to combat Mercury
to counter
retrograde? Yeah.
Just be mindful. You really can't. You just need to give yourself extra time. You just need to be a
and
little more patient and grace. The planets are giving us grace. They're like, yo, what have you been thinking about? What have you been talking about? Slow down for a second. It's like, you've been going so fast, slow down. And so it's like, you know what? Why not slow down? It's only about a 2-week period. So now I will say this. Some people are born with planets with Mercury retrograde. So for me, Mercury was retrograde when I was born. I do just fine when Mercury's retrograde. Now, I don't have the best overall luck when it comes to like cars and stuff like that, but I do just fine when Mercury's retrograde. It doesn't bother me.
How long does that last? You said it happens every 88 days. How long?
For Mercury, it's every 88 days and it lasts about 14 days. But each planet does it at a different rate because they all move at different speeds.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, here we go.
It's a whole science.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I know. Absolutely.
It's good.
So for people who, because I'll tell you why it started. Years ago, my friend said, Mercury's in retrograde. And I was like, okay. And then, and that was Kelly Harrington would always say, Mercury's in retrograde. And I was like, and then Coy came to work with us, and every time Mercury was in retrograde and something would happen, you're like, well, she would tell us. It's like she did this week. Mercury's in retrograde. Right. Yeah. And so it's just good to know and for us to have a sense for each sign what that means for us.
Yes. It's different for each of the signs, and it's different based on where it's happening in your own chart. So everybody has to remember, we have all 12 signs. We're all got Aquarius in our chart right now, somewhere dealing with this. There's an area of our life that we may find ourselves feeling a little bit down about, reviewing, up for review, because Mercury is retrograde in Aquarius, feeling like maybe there's no growth there, that, you know, this is just feeling hard and something we don't really want to move forward in. So that's about to happen. That's what all of us are dealing with in some point right now. So just have grace, show yourself some love.
We do have Stargazer 617. I'm not sure if that's June 17th, but when is the next time that Mercury will be in retrograde?
It retrogrades every season, you guys. So right now it's retrograding in the winter, so it'll retrograde again in spring, and I do believe that it's like right in Taurus season. So about
it's like every 3 months, right?
Every 88 days. Yeah, every 3 months. So every season we need to take a pause and say, okay, what am I thinking about? What's going on? What am I talking about?
And it lasts for 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks.
Okay. All right. And people, thank you so much for giving us your birth dates. But as we said before, if you just joined us, we are going to give everybody an opportunity to get a reading with Ms. Astrology as your birthday comes up, you know, for next month or whatever.
Or you can get a personal reading. Go to my website.
Go to cosmicallylit.com.
Oh, thank you. Yes, that's it.
Thanks, Chica.
And you can book a reading there. We record them. They're one-on-one. They last about 50 minutes. I also study tarot, so I include tarot.
Also, I was going to ask you about your tarot cards.
Yes, so I include tarot as well. So for me, that just kind of fills in some of the gaps and the details. I'm a Sagittarius, so I'm a big picture thinker. A lot of people like little details, so the tarot cards help me with that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move to entertainment and talk a little bit about this. And I don't know if well, my question is, does the Chinese New Year have anything to do, or does it work in concert with astrology? Like, I'm not sure what this upcoming year is going to be.
Their New Years are based off of cycles of the moon. So theirs is based off of like within a time, the first new moon of the new year or something like that. I don't study a lot of Eastern science, but I know they work more with the moon cycle.
And we're sun.
Yes, and we're more with the sun. Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay. So what's the most fun astrological sign?
Now it's going to depend on the individual. Everybody defines fun differently, but the sign that literally rules, right? Everybody defines fun differently.
You know, if you're one of those just likes to sit in bed and watch TV and play solitaire, and
right, then you might love a Taurus. Then a Taurus is for you, and probably a Pisces as well. But the sign that literally rules a good time is Leo. It's a Leo. They are a good time. They are fun. They are the inner child. They are the sun. So they literally are the sign that rules a good time. And if you really want to have a good time, you would maybe add a Libra, because they're going to make sure everybody's taken care of and mingling and everything that you need is here. Maybe add another Sagittarius, because they're just there to expand everything and just like keep the party going. We having fun? No, we having a lot of fun now.
Right.
So those are the top three. And then I probably would add a Gemini just to make it a little more fun. They're going to do something else.
So that's my next question. If you are born in, let's say Gemini, if you're born in May, are you different than the Gemini who's born in June necessarily?
Well, you're going to probably have the same qualities, but for me, it's going to be where was the moon and where was Mercury. So we got to blend those planets together in order to see who you are. But you're still going to have that wishy-washy Gemini demeanor. Still gonna gossip a little bit. You're still, gonna have those ways. You're still gonna think you're smarter than everybody else and try to out trick people. But you might do it in a different way based on your Mercury and your moon.
That's astrology. Everybody always talks about the Scorpio sexual prowess. So, fact or fiction?
I think it depends more on Mars. Now, when it comes to intimacy and like deep intimacy, like piercing in your eyes, like where it feels taboo and uncomfortable, like stop looking at me like that. That's Scorpio. Like that real intense, very sexual, like you're really drawn to them. Now, the actual act, that's when I would look for Mars. And for me personally, I like to see Mars in an Earth sign for that one. So Mars in Capricorn or Mars in Taurus, because slow and steady wins the race.
Wait, say that again.
For me, it's a little bit more. Right, I got you, Sybil. I got you. Mars is can pull the trigger quick as well too.
Yeah.
So Mars is your actual sexual energy. And so as far as the act, it's the root chakra. It's that driving force of let's do it. And so that's Mars energy. So as far as like stamina and that kind of thing, that's going to show up more in Mars. And for me, I was saying I like it in earth signs, but that's just where I like my Mars placements in men.
Wow.
Okay. All right then.
But Scorpio is a very sensual sign.
And that's what I like about Scorpio men, the sensuality.
Yes, they know how to touch you and those kind of things.
They know how to work it.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Okay, all right.
So, I think that is good for us for right now. I do want to remind.
Hold on.
Okay.
So, who is the worst toucher?
You guys, this is funny. Like the first thing that comes to mind for me is probably Gemini. And that's simply because they're just going to probably be all over the place and not really, it feel like it'd be more like a tickle because they'd be like, you like this, you like that? Like they just like, never mind, stop. It's too much. Yes. Slow and steady. Right.
Like, whoa.
Right. And so it feels like it would be Gemini for me, would probably be the worst. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome.
I love Gemini's though.
And the most serious of the group?
Capricorn. It's likely going to be Capricorn, and Virgo is going to give them a run for their money as well. Just really being serious and analytical and kind of anxiety driven. So Capricorn and Virgos for sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
This has been so much fun.
So much fun. Thank you so much. I enjoy this. Yolanda stayed the whole time again.
I know. You got me. You got me again.
Yes. I love it. I love it.
I do want to have you just keep us stay with us as we read Yogi's Jewel every day.
Okay.
This is what we leave people with, and I think it's really appropriate that on this day, on this birthday, the best way to find yourself is to be of service to others. Mm-hmm. That was from Mahatma Gandhi, and that really rings true for me. Mm-hmm. So the best way to find yourself is to be of service to others. I don't know if you agree with that, Ms. Astrology, but it works for a lot of us.
I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
And I know it's some of the things that gets me out of a funk. If I'm having a bad day, if I can just focus my attention on someone else and offering them something, then I always feel better.
Well, you have been of great service to us today. We appreciate you.
I can't wait to come back next month. It'll be really good.
Before you close out, Sybil, can I get you to address this?
Yes. This is on Facebook, and this was a very sad situation, and we will cover it in the newsletter. But my sorors and I lost our national president today, Cheryl Hickman. Please send up prayers for her family, loved ones, and members, all the ladies of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. We are so sorry for your loss, and please know that you and former President Smith and all of the members are in our thoughts and prayers, and we are so sorry for your loss. Yes. We thank you so much again, Ms. Astrology, and
so
cosmicallylit.com.
Yes. And you guys, I have courses coming up. You can join my Cosmically Lit Collective. We get together live every Sunday, or just book a private reading for yourself. So there's so many ways to learn this subject so that you can learn more about yourself and others around you.
The webinar that you did right around the time we did the last one, right?
Yes, the year ahead. We did a year ahead webinar, and it was recorded, so you're able to go back through it and pay attention. But that's the other thing also about the Cosmically Lit Collective. We on Zoom live every Sunday, and we just talk about the week ahead. I answer people's questions. It's my time to gather with my tribe. I love it, y'all.
Okay.
It's like my besties on there.
Well, Rosemary Smith says she signed up for all things on IG, Facebook, newsletter.
I appreciate the newsletter is good. You guys definitely want to get the newsletter at least.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Thank you guys.
We're in.
Yes. Girls, I'm going to see y'all again next month. We're going to do this again.
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you so much. Everybody have a great day. Happy birthday, Yolanda.
Thank you. Thank you for all of the birthday wishes. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And we will see you all again soon. And definitely we'll see you next month, Ms. Astrology. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night. Aloha.